Hello and welcome to the last and final day of my logo process. In this video, I'm going to be talking about day 7 in my process. Now, over the last 6 days, I've shown you how I have discovered ideas, sketched my ideas, taken it onto the computer to artwork my design. In the last video, I showed how I put that in situ, and today is the last day in my process where I'm going to be taking everything I've done and preparing a proposal document for the client, which I'm going to be presenting very soon. Now, normally it only takes about 5 days to design the logo. After day 5, the logo is normally designed, but if I am presenting to a client, I like to take some time to prepare for my presentation. In the last video, I created in situ visuals, which is really important to contextualize the logo, to really sell it to the client, to show how it can work in a variety of contexts, large and small. Now today I'm going to be building a presentation where I'm going to take the client on a journey. Now it's really important to take the client on a journey when you are presenting your logo design. Never show design out of context, guys, because a client will just look at it, they won't know what it's about, they might be underwhelmed and they might not react the way you want. The best way to sell your design is to take the client on a journey, tell a story, explain to the client why you did what you did. If you can get the client on board with an idea, then once they understand an idea, you can then show your creative solution in response to that idea. So when they see the design, they know what it's about and they're better equipped to take on board the design. So let's see what I did today in day 7 to create my logo design proposal document. So here I am in Illustrator, and this is my logo design proposal document I'm going to use to present to the client. Now, some of you might be thinking, wow, this is big. You know, this is huge. It's actually 90 pages. Now, it might look big, but all this is, these are like cue cards, okay? When I present this to the client, I kind of skim through the pages. So they're really just talking points. So it might look like a lot, but what this does is it allows me to really thoroughly present and articulate everything that I want and I think is important for the client to know in order for me to sell my logo design. Now, I won't go into it too much because it'll be a huge video. So what I'll try and do is I'll just try and talk about the most important bits. So first, you may be wondering, why am I doing it in Illustrator? Well, I've been presenting my logo designs in Illustrator for a little while now. I used to use InDesign, and sometimes I do, but lately I've been using Illustrator because there's some really cool, flexible features in Illustrator. For example, you can see the presentation like this. I like being able to really take a big step back and see the presentation as a whole, because this allows me to look at it and make sure that it flows correctly and that I haven't missed anything. You know, it just makes the whole experience easy. I can dive in and dive out, especially when I present it to the client. You know, I can zoom out like this and we can zoom into various bits and things like that. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. This is just one way I've been doing it recently. So I'll just zoom into the start here and I'll just explain what's going on. So this is just my style. This is just my brand style. I like to use frames in the background. Basically, this just contextualizes it. This project is for private training, where they offer courses in healthcare, childcare, business, accountancy, and so on. So all I'm doing is I'm just using images that sort of are relevant to that. So when the client's looking at it, it keeps them focused and it feels very on point. Now, if I was doing a project for, I don't know, music or a dance music festival, then I'd have images in there relevant to that subject matter. So basically, on page 2, I have a what's in store. And this presentation covers 4 key things: a project recap, a strategy overview, concept territories, and creative solutions. So before I show them the final result, before I even show them any of the logo designs, I take them on a journey. I bring them up to speed with what the project is about. I remind the audience of what this project is all about. Sometimes I might be presenting to someone who wasn't part of the initial process. They might be just sitting in on the presentation. So I like to do a recap. So whoever's in the room or whoever I'm presenting to, I can bring them up to speed. So everybody in the room is fully aware of what the project's about and what they're about to see a creative solution for. So then I'll do a strategy overview, and this is where I'll include some of my initial thinking. earlier in my process, you would have seen my brainstorming and the techniques I use for that, looking at the qualities, looking at creative interpretations, coming up with initial themes and things like that. Now, I like to include that in my presentation, just again to bring the client up to speed, to show them what I was thinking about, the sparks, the sparks that have led to my creative solution. So once I bring them up to speed with the strategy, then the client is pretty much on board with the idea. They know my thinking, so they're kind of on the same page. Then I show concept territories. Now, concept territories is basically a solid design concept. So this is basically an idea. And this is what I like to present to the client as a territory, which I'm going to base my logo design on. So once the client is up to speed on a territory, they will then be on the same page and they'll know, right, this is what he's designing for. If they get the idea and they're on board with the idea, this is really good, because whatever I show them after this, if it does a good job of meeting that territory, then there's a good chance of selling the design. So once I've presented that concept territory, then I show the creative solution. Okay, so I start off with some early design process. I'll show some sketches, and this is just really intriguing for the client. They really like to see how it's come from the grassroots. This is where it gets exciting for them. And then I'll show some further sketches where I'll dive deeper into a particular idea. And this is just for the client to see how the idea came to life and how it started to shape. Then I'll show a logo formula. I spoke about logo formulas in a previous episode. Logo formulas are really good to help communicate complexity to a client. A client might not be visual, so if you show them the logo, they might not understand it. So if you can break it down into its core parts and show how it came together as a formula, this can really help a client understand why you created a logo or a visual construct the way you did. So here I have my formula, and then next I have a very polished drawing of the logo. So this is then my idea articulated in a visual scamp. And at this point the client can see, wow, okay, this is how it's all coming together. I see it now. So then I show how the logo will work, and sometimes I will include a little bit of visual language. Sometimes when you create a logo, there might be something about it that could extend further than the logo itself. In this instance, the logo is made of shapes and blocks, and part of the concept was building. So if we deconstruct the logo, we can see how maybe we could use the shapes for textures or patterns and things like that. This just shows how the logo could lend itself to maybe some more visual language. So then after that, that's when I show the final logo. So now I show the logo in black and white, and this is the artwork logo in its simplest form. And here it's in black and white because I want the client to focus on the shape and form of it and the idea of it rather than the finished thing. And if there is a type element, which there is on this occasion, I'll introduce that. I'll introduce the typography, the typeface I use and why. And then I'll show the logo working in combination with any type element. And now the client can really see it all coming together. I'll show some black and white versions. And at this point, the client should see the logo and see it working as a core idea. And then I start introducing color. I explain why the colors have been used and why they have been chosen. And then I show the logo in full color. And at this point, the client will understand every little bit that has gone into the logo, and seeing the logo like this in color, this is a better place to show the client the final logo. So now they can see the final logo in its main colorway. And then as I pursue over the next pages, I'm just showing them more of the same with the combinations and the type elements in color. If I have a dynamic color treatment, I'll show that as well. So in this instance, I have the color working on a colored background, the logo working on a colored background. So we can see the color treatment on a different background. And then I'll conclude the logo and talk about why it works, how it looks, how it feels, what it creates and what it offers. So this is like a little break in the presentation where, you know, I'll make the case and highlight the merits of the logo design. So then once I have shown the logo, it's then time to show the logo in situ. Now this is really important because this is where you show the client that it works. So up to this point, you've shown the idea, you've shown them the idea and said, yep, these are the ideas and this is the logo design, but now you really have to convince the client that it works. Sometimes a client may be unconvinced at this point, but if you can show it working in context, this can really knock it for 6. So now on this occasion, before I go into how the logo can be used, I actually created some letter forms, an alphabet. Now, because of the unique nature of this project, I created letter forms for the logo. Now, sometimes I don't do this. Sometimes it might be just like a combination mark with a logo mark image. But on this occasion, I created letters for the logo. So I wanted to see how those letters would look as a complete alphabet, which maybe could be used as words. So at this point, I included the letter forms. So after showing the logo, I'll show them the letter forms, and then I'll show them how the logo can be used. So over the next couple of pages, I'll just show how the logo works practically and how it's applied. So here I have some bold instances of the logo on some image backgrounds with specific colorway treatments. And then I'll show it working in some practical instances, like on signage outside the building and inside. We have some business cards. We have things like mugs, badges, t-shirts, caps. And at this point, I'll take a pause because I actually animated this logo as well. I worked with an animator on this one and we got the logo animated. So at this point, I'll take a pause and I'll show them the animation. Now, sometimes I won't animate the logo at this point, so I won't show the animation. So I'll just continue. So here I'll continue and I have a word, and this is just introducing the client to the concept that the letter form treatment on the logo can actually be applied to words. So I'll show them a particular word here, and then on the next page I'll show how that can then be used as part of a broader visual theme or a visual toolkit. And now I'm showing a little bit of a touch on how that could look. Now this is a logo design project and not a branding project, so don't really need to do this. However, I like to do a little bit of this because it just shows how the logo can be part of something a little bit bigger. So if I have time, I like to do this, especially if I'm working with a client who's getting me to do a logo design who might want me to do branding next. So I just want this. So I only do this if I'm working with a client who wants me to do branding afterwards, just to tease them and to get them excited about that, so I can help them further after this logo design project. So here I have some folders, I have some notepads, looking at it on tote bags, again looking at a comp of the word in synergy with the body copy text, and then looking at how that could work on a bag, again back on t-shirts. Here we have an ad on the underground or a train station, just to show it all working together. I have some flags, I have some interior, looking at how maybe the logo and the motif of the logo could work as an interior sort of decoration. I have an example here showing how the artwork and the logo could work as maybe a hero slide on at a conference. Then I'm showing more practical uses as a email footer, how it might look on Twitter, and then finally how the logo, how it could work as a theme outside their place of work. Now, I got this image from Google Maps. This is actually an image of their company. I just took it and superimposed the new look and feel on top of it. So that is normally where I'll stop, but depending on the project, I will continue a little bit further. On this project, I talk about a color spectrum. So up to this point, I've shown a very particular colorway. Now, if the color has more of a system, then I'll introduce how that might work. For this particular logo design, there is a system. There's a master colorway, but there will be some secondary colors which can be used flexibly. So here I'll introduce the color spectrum. I'll introduce some extra colors. I'll show how they work and how they are treated on the logo in various ways. And then I'll show a few quick in situ visuals showing how these colors would look on, say, badges, on some more posters, and maybe some mugs and some flags. So I'll give the client a little touch into how that will work. And then the last thing I do on the presentation is show it in the mix. This is where I will show the logo amongst the competitors. Here, this is a really good way to really show how your logo helps stand out from the rest of the competition. You can compare it to the competition, and this is another tool, another trick to help convince the client. This is another trick to help convince the client that, you know, the logo solution is perfect for them. So then once I have done that, I'll end with a thank you frame, and then I'll just end on a frame with the logo itself, because at the end of a presentation, once I've shown them and I've talked them all through it, I normally end on a frame where you can just sit on the logos, and this is the time where I'll take questions and we'll talk about the logo. So that is my logo design proposal document, which I'm going to use to present to my client in the next couple of days. I'm going to be taking the client through this. I'm going to be taking them on the journey from start to finish. And this is a really effective way to present your logo design. This is how I present my logos all the time to clients. And every time I present like this, I always get a home run. The client always loves it because they love the storytelling. They love the journey. When they see the logo at the end, they know what it's all about. So guys, if ever you're looking to present your design to a client, take some advice out of this, take the client on a journey. And tell them the story of your idea. If you can get the client on board with that, then you can get the client on board with your design, and it makes it easier to sell your design. If the client has any objections or concerns, superficial concerns like their colors, they don't like their colors, they don't like it. I talk about this quite in depth on my logo design course, but if a client doesn't like it for arbitrary reasons, you can argue your case of why it works. If a logo design works, then it's hard for them to really argue against that if they just have superficial things that they don't like. So tell me guys, what do you think of my logo proposal document? Do you think it works? Do you think there's something I could add to it? How do you present your design to your clients? Tell me in the comment section. How do you present your work? Do you present your work like this? Do you send it over email, or do you get on a call and talk to your clients? Let me know in the comment section and tell me what you think and tell me what you do. So that's it guys. That's the end of this logo design process. It is now done. It is now up to me to present it to the client. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing that call with you. I'm going to be jumping on the call with the client, and I'm going to record it and I'm going to share it with you guys. So you're going to see exactly how I present. That is one of the last steps in this whole process, to present to the client. If you want to see how I present this proposal document to the client, how I talk to the client, how I take them through the presentation, be sure to stick around, subscribe, and wait for that next video. It's going to be coming soon. So if you want to see that, stick around. If you like this process, if you like what I did in this proposal document, you can get access to a copy of this in the Pro Logo Design course, which I have on the GDS channel. If you're interested to see all this design process, the process I use and the process I've been using throughout this whole process, be sure to check the link in the description for my professional logo design course, which is on the GDS channel. Okay guys, so I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you in the next video where I will be presenting to the client. So I'll see you then.